Hari Samoa. Thank you so much for joining us today on the U.S. Embassy Kuala Lumpur's Facebook page. I am Sarah Talalay, Assistant Cultural Affairs Officer at the U.S. Embassy. I oversee exchange programs. We are delighted to be joined today by Peace Corps volunteer veteran Lon Muffett, all the way from Ridgefield, Washington. Malaysia no longer has Peace Corps, but its legacy is our largest exchange program with the Malaysian government, the Fulbright English Teaching Assistant Program, which brings dozens of young Americans to Malaysia to assist English teachers, mainly in rural schools, much like Lon did in Kedah in the 1970s. These are one of the ways we mengikat pertalian antara Malaysia dan Amerika Syarikat. We have lots of exchange programs. Our other special guest today recently went to the US on an international visitor leadership program for journalists. He is Pradeep Nambiar of Free Malaysia Today, and he will be interviewing Lon. Again, thank you so much for joining us. Pradeep, please take it away.
Hi. Thanks, Sarah. Well, the man that I'm about to introduce needs no introduction. May I take a phrase from David Letterman? He has amazed us all in the past 3 weeks because he uploaded a video of himself singing Negaraku and speaking in perfect Bahasa. And not only he speaks perfect Bahasa, you can find that in any other foreigner in Malaysia, but he also writes in Bahasa really well. And he is as Kedahan as we can get. When I first interviewed him, and the first line of his email was, my name is Lon. Lan in Malay, like how would you address a Malay person named Lan? So that kind of startled me for a 74-year-old man who speaks perfect Bahasa, Kedah Bahasa, that is something amazing. But the mark that he left behind 50 years ago on rural Kedahans and people in Terengganu is amazing. If you look at his Facebook page today, you'll be amazed to find that most of his old students are there pinging him every day. And mind you, the video that he posted has already had 300,000 views. And he's got over 1,000 friend requests. And I guess he's already tired clicking accept. He's already given up. Most of his posts are public. And you could see his musings in Bahasa. It's pretty amazing. So this guy, he's from Ridgefield, also a rural part of Washington State. And he came to Malaysia in 1969 to Air Hitam in Kedah. Air Hitam is about not far away from the Perlis border in the northwest of Kedah. And he has spent 4 years there. And he has totally assimilated into the culture. He's turned into a Malay person. He lives in a kampong. He wears sarongs. This is according to a colleague that used to work with him. Okay, and many can attest that he is a typical Malaysian. So today we will hear from this great man who's got an elephant memory. He remembers everything about Malaysia. It's so staggering, and listening to him is like, it takes you into a time capsule, and takes us back to the 1960s Malaysia. It's pretty amazing. So let's hear from Lon.
Selamat tengah hari, everyone. Good afternoon. Especially, I want to thank you, first of all, Morgan and Sarah and Pradeep and Lena, who made this possible. And I want to give a very special greeting to my student family throughout Malaysia, who now have children and grandchildren that I consider to be my grandchildren and great-grandchildren. And I want them to know that every child in the United States has a small Malaysian vocabulary. That's right. Every child, there's 2 words that every child knows in Bahasa Malaysia, but they don't know that it's Bahasa Malaysia. They think that it's English. The first, of course, is like monyet, it's orangutan. But of course, when they say it, it's orangutan. It has that kind of mat saleh kind of yang sound to it. But the second one is even more special, and it's the word kakatu, which, of course, we in Malaysia know as that beloved song Burung Kakatua. So I want to take a moment and we'll just sing it together with you, and we'll do that right now. So here goes. Satu, dua, tiga. Burung kakak tua hinggap di jendela. Nenek sudah tua, giginya tinggal dua. Lecum, 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 oh la la. Lecum, 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 oh la la. Lecum, 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 oh la la, burung kakak tua. Terima kasih adik-adik, very good, bagus. And now I'll be speaking mostly in English for our audience, but I want to tell you what is essentially a love story. And probably if you hear me say love story, you're thinking, kisah cinta. No, not kisah cinta, not that kind of, not cinta kind of love. This is kisah kasih sayang, a very special kind of love, even more meaningful. And it's a long love story. So far, it's about 51 years long, and the last chapter hasn't been written yet. So, and I only have a few minutes, so I'm going to take a few special moments from that long, beautiful love story to explain to you how I fell in love with you, the people of Malaysia. And we're going to start with the first Malaysian people I ever met. They were our cikgu Bahasa Malaysia, our gurus. At that time, we were in Hawaii in the United States. They came and they find this group of sort of half crazy, half hippie, half cowboy, outspoken Americans. And they have a big job to do. They have to teach us how to speak Bahasa Malaysia from zero. But they're very clever. They know exactly how to go about it. And one of the fun things we did, and this is a moment I will never forget in my life, we were going to do, it was a Friday evening, we're going to do little lakonan, little drama singkat. In Bahasa Malaysia, we would take some simple story that we knew from English and with a very limited vocabulary, translate it, and then get in front of the group and perform that little lakonan. Well, my group chose Little Red Riding Hood, Budak Baju Merah. And of course, one of the most important characters in this story of Budak Baju Merah is a big bad wolf, serigala besar dan jahat. But of course, we have no idea how to say a big bad wolf or serigala besar dan jahat. So we have to be creative. So we come up with things like anjing besar, gigi besar, anjing besar ada misai. We knew the word misai because one of our language instructors had a misai. So we had learned that word. So we said anjing besar ada misai, anjing besar mata besar. But it was it had to be some kind of a big dog. Well, we got it all ready. We've gotten our script. We go up in front of the cikgu, and of course, they're very serious about this. They want us to learn Bahasa Malaysia. They want to be sensitive to our needs, help us where we need help. So we begin to present our little lakonan, and of course, it's crazy and funny, and we have these weird words. Well, I looked down, and first I saw one cikgu with kind of a little smile on the corner of his face. And then I looked over here, and I saw another cikgu with a bigger smile on his face. And then I looked over there in another corner, and one cikgu has his hand over his face, trying not to laugh. And then suddenly another cikgu cannot stop himself. He bursts out laughing, and suddenly everyone is laughing. The pelakon-pelakon, the pelate-pelate, the guru-guru, everyone is laughing. Sampai perutnya bergoncang-goncang. It was belly laughing, real belly laughing. We were out of control for about 4 or 5 minutes, and finally the cikgu were able to calm us down, and we continued. But I learned something wonderful about the heart of the Malaysian people, the kindness, the love, the patience, the willingness to put up with these crazy Americans. And it was my introduction to the heart of the Malaysian people. Well, now let's move a little bit further. I want to tell you the next chapter in my little love story is the first Malaysian that I met once I was actually in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur. We were staying in Brickfields in Asrama YMCA, and I had made a decision that on my first free day in Kuala Lumpur, there's two things I was going to do. I'm going to go visit the Tugu Negara, Tugu Peringatan Kebangsaan. Of course, I didn't know the word for that, but I looked it up in my kamus. I wrote it down. And then the second part of that was I'm going to speak no English. I'm determined to speak Bahasa Malaysia. So that the first free day comes. I set out in the morning. I start walking. It's warm. I'm starting to perspire a little bit. Suddenly, I hear a Vespa. A Vespa comes up beside me. There's a young Malaysian gentleman on the Vespa. He parks it. He turns it off. He tells me his name, says I'm a teacher from nearby. And then he says, of course, in beautiful English, may I help you find something? And a wiser person than I would, of course, responded in English and asked for, say, yes, I'm trying to find the national monument. But remember, I had made a stubborn promise to myself. I was going to speak only Bahasa Malaysia. So I said to him, well, this is what I wanted to say. What I wanted to say was, saya mau pergi Tugu Negara. That's what I wanted to say. But when I actually spoke, this is what came out. Saya mau pergi Kutu Negara. Kutu, you might find one in your hair, or you might find one on the dog's back, but it was a bad mistake. But I saw the gentleman, his hand kind of went to his forehead, and I could hear him whisper to himself, Kutu Negara, Kutu Negara. Well, I'm out of Malaysian vocabulary, still stubborn, so I start to use hand gestures. Kutu Negara, Kutu Negara, trying to say a soldier. And finally, a big smile came on his face, and he said, you want to go to the national monument? Again, in beautiful, perfect English. He said, come, get on the Vespa. And so, to make a long story short, he spent the rest of the whole day. I have no idea what his plans were for the day, but I was a stranger. He had never seen me before. He helped me. He took me not only to the Tugu Negara, he took me to Museum Negara. We saw Bangunan Parliament. And then it was afternoon. He said, come, let's get something to eat. And I'm thinking, good idea. Now will be my chance to say thank you by paying for this food that we're going to have. So I was thinking, I've got a great plan. We go have our mi goreng, es kacang, and I'm getting ready to pull out my money. And he said, no, you're my guest. You're my guest for today. He would not let me pay for the food. We finished. We had a wonderful afternoon. He took me back to the asrama in Brickfields. I said now in both languages, thank you very much. Terima kasih banyak. And as far as I know, I've never seen that man again. But again, the heart of the Malaysian was revealed in that wonderful. He didn't make fun of me. He didn't laugh at me. He helped me. He treated me like a guest, like a brother. And I'm falling in love with these Malaysian people already. Well, now the next thing, it takes place. I'm posted now to my village. I'm in the kampong, and I need to buy a few things for my house. And the one thing I needed to get was a foam rubber mattress to sleep on. Tilam getah. Of course, I didn't know the word for tilam getah, but I remembered one thing our cikgu had said to us. In Malaysia, when you go to buy something, you never pay the first price that you are offered. A good rule is to take that price, cut it in half, and offer back half of the price that the seller wants to give you the first time. So I'm thinking of this kind of in Bahasa Malaysia, kind of in Bahasa Inggris, some kira-kira, hitung-hitung going on in my mind. And I'm thinking, okay, half of 20 ringgit, 10 ringgit. And so I'm trying to say what I want to say again to him. I say to him, mahal, mahal, mahal. 20 ringgit mahal. Sama bagi 30 ringgit saja. Instead of saying 10 ringgit, I said 30 ringgit. I added another 10 ringgit. Again, the perfect opportunity for this man to take advantage, to earn a little extra money. In fact, what would have happened if he had said, okay, bye, terima kasih, I would have gone home. I would have thought, man, what a the difference. I would have fooled myself. But no, he was kind. He was patient. He waited until it finally sunk in the silly thing that I had said. So I go back to my original plan now and say, bagaimana 10 ringgit? And he said, 10 ringgit tak cukup. So I said, 15 ringgit, and he agreed. And I bought the tilam for 15 ringgit. It was a good deal. I was happy. But again, I saw the heart of the Malaysian people. And now we're going on to school. This is where I really started to fall in love with my students. I walked into the classroom the first day. Something happened that was totally unexpected. It doesn't happen in the schools that I went to in the United States. I walked into the classroom and suddenly, with military precision, all the students rise, almost like soldiers. I felt like I was being saluted, even though I wasn't. And they said, "Good morning, teacher." And I thought, oh my, I've got to show them that there's another way to say "good morning, teacher." So I somehow decided quickly, let's do a little role play. I want you to pretend to be the teacher. I'm going to pretend to be the student, and I want to show you the way to say "good morning, teacher," that the way I would say it at home. And so the student walks out, comes in, and I stand up and I say, "Good morning, teacher." And then we had a little discussion how they would say back to me, "Good morning, students." And we talked about, it was like music and it's languages from the heart. Well, something happened at that moment that just opened the dam of kindness and love between myself and my students. And we became very quickly attached. So much so that from that time on, basically every spare moment I had, weekends, holidays, and we had a lot of holidays, of course, we would do things together, bicycle trips, camping trips, makan angin, all kinds of things. We went to Pulau Pinang, we went to Pulau Langkawi, we went to Laga Tujuh, Pantai Merdeka, all of these places. We even went into Pradeep talked about the border of Thailand. We went into Thailand, but without passports, through a big hole in the fence. Everyone went there, where there was just somebody had got this gigantic hole in the fence, enough for several people to walk through. We walked through, we went over to the market there, the pasar, we looked around, had fun, came back in, no passport, no police, no custom, nothing, and we had a wonderful time. But we traveled everywhere. And one of those trips was to Pulau Pinang, which in Kuala we call Tanjung, Napi Tanjung. So that day we were going to Pitanjung on bicycles again, Kayu Garrett. And the students taught me something again that I hadn't done before to make the trip go faster. They taught me this little thing that you do, like a song. And we were doing it like, "Oop chale, up, oop chale, up, oop chale, up." And we were doing this and having fun, and I was enjoying it. We come to Sungai Petani, and I look over there and I see a pile of durian. And I said, "Oh, look, a pile of durian." Well, at that moment, Abdul Rahman, and I don't think he'll mind my using his name, one of my beloved students, turned to look at the pile of durian, and I heard "BOM!" and his head smashed directly into the back of a parked lorry. And I thought, oh no, he's going to die. He's unconscious. He's going to have a terrible cut. But the amazing thing, Abdul Rahman, you're tough. Nothing happened. He wasn't injured. He got up. We continued on. We went all the way to Pulau Pinang, and he was as healthy as could be. Alhamdulillah. I really thought that was the end. But one of the wonderful experiences. And then there's the last one I want to talk about is more serious, but it just takes the meaning a little bit deeper. It's serious because this is the one moment in my life, and I'm almost 74 years old, that I thought I was going to die. I honestly thought that within a few seconds I was going to die. And it happened in Kuala. It was a weekend afternoon. A group of students and I they said, let's go to the Tepi Laut. We went somewhere, I think, between Kuala Sanglang and Kuala Kerpan, if I remember right. And the kids, of course, said to me, may we go swimming in the ocean? Mamandi lat, cikgu, mamandi lat, cikgu mamandi laut. And I didn't know if it was safe or not. The water there is muddy. It's the Straits of Malacca. You can't see into the water or see to the bottom. So I was afraid to say yes until I said, let's go talk to the local farmers. And if they say it's okay, then we'll go swimming. So we went to Pakcik there, and he said, oh ya tidak apa-apa, kami selalu pergi mancing, menjala, tak ada apa, kutip kerang, tak ada apa-apa, boleh saja. So that was enough for me. And I said to the kids, okay, we've got the green light, let's go swimming. We got back to Tepi Laut, we jumped in the water, and I went a little bit farther than the students at first. And suddenly I felt exactly as if I was being shocked with an electric cord. It was about 6 or 7 times, and I realized immediately something very bad was happening. So I shouted as loud as I said, "Keluar, keluar, keluar, semua keluar!" So we all of the students scrambled to get out of the water. I got out of the water, but by the time I got to the sand, I could not stand up. I could only sit. My breathing is beginning to feel very difficult. Within a few more seconds, I couldn't sit. I had to lie down on the sand. In a few more seconds, my breathing sounded exactly like this. I honestly thought I was about to die. In my mind, my whole life was flashing through like at 1,000 miles per hour. And then a sense of calm and a sense of peace came because my body had gone into shock. And I honestly don't remember very much of what happened after that, but I know that my students took care of me. They immediately went and got help. They helped me get back to my kampung. My beloved Mak Doya, my makcik, she took care. She made teh berobat. Then she made bubur berobat. She tried to give me something to eat and drink. I couldn't, tak boleh telan lagi. But after a little bit of time, I was able to swallow it. And again, to make the long story short, within a few days, I was healthy again. And I went back to teaching and many, many, many more adventures. But that's just one example of why I love my students. They saved my life. They taught me incredibly awesome things about life, about love, about what it feels like to be born in Malaysia. What does it feel like to grow up as a child in Malaysia? What does it feel like to be a student in Malaysia? They shared that experience with me until I could actually feel it, and it became a part of me. And I will love them forever. And the love story is not over yet. As long as I'm breathing, it will continue. But I'm going to stop talking now and let Pradeep take over and ask a few questions, and he may have some from you as well. Thank you all. I love you all.
Wow, I see a book deal coming, Lon. Wow, it's incredible that you just took us through like a roller coaster ride through your life. It was up, down, and you're haggling and going through a typical kampung life, cycling. And yeah, I mean, it's quite amazing. I mean, how do you keep notes of these things, or you remember them offhand?
I remember them, and of course, I talk very often on Facebook or WhatsApp or various social with my students. We talk back and forth a lot, and recently I put some old photos from school, from Sekolah Menengah Hitam on the Facebook page, and of course that brought back a lot of memories. So I do, but they made such an impression on me, which is why I can remember how to speak Bahasa Malaysia, and why I love those students who have become my family members with a love that cannot be explained. It's deep.
That's pretty amazing. I just want to look back at your history a little bit. So you, right after school, was it, you joined the Peace Corps?
That's right. Right out of the university. In fact, at the end of the summer, after university, I went straight into Peace Corps training I believe it was September or October. I don't remember the exact date.
How old were you?
I was 21. Well, I turned 22 in September. So if it was after September, I would have been 22.
Right, that's awesome. And your writing skills, I mean, how do you practice them? Your bahasa writing, how do you keep up?
Well, I've always been a close friend with a kamus. For one thing, I have one little kamus. It's lost now. I'm hoping I can find it again. It's a little green kamus. It had Bahasa Inggris, Bahasa Malaysia, and Bahasa Malaysia English, and it was the dirtiest, ugliest, most torn, tattered, battered, beloved little dictionary. It slept with me. It went on camping trips with me. It fell in the ocean with me. I was never without. And of course, the best kamus of all are those wonderful students. I mean, we laughed together. I made crazy mistakes. They helped me. They taught me. They just made it wonderful. So and things stuck in my mind because the experience was so meaningful. So I've never really lost that even though a lot of years have passed, I've never really lost that interest and that memory. Lots of memories.
Wow. So you've been there for 4 years in Kedah, so I'm sure you have kind of immersed into the Malay culture. Can you explain
Yes.
to us how your life has changed? I mean, how did you adapt to their cultures and norms in a kampung, a rural kampung in Kedah?
It was very interesting. Again, it's kind of a decision that I made when I joined the Peace Corps, that I was going to give everything I had to get the most I possibly could out of the experience. So when I went to Kedah in rural Malaysia, and at that time, there was no electricity. Houses did not have electricity. We didn't have running water, no pipes. I'm very familiar with jamban. I know all about jamban, and in fact, I had one jamban in the first little rental house I had that was very shaky, and there was a little trail out, a little wooden path out to the jamban, and every trip was an adventure because you never know whether the wood was going to break or not. But I was going to try everything, and so when I went with my Malay family, it was time to menanam padi. I said, "Okay, jom, I'm going to go to sawah." And when it was time to take the kerbau, I went with the kerbau. That's maybe why I became kerbau bala, right? And when it was time to plant the paddy, I went, and our word was letak smai. We would take the young rice plants and lay them out, and then the makcik would take this marvelous little kuku, this little tool thing, and poke each plant. I wanted to do all that, and in fact, I experienced the biggest, most disgusting leeches that I've ever had in my life, because the sawah there, muddy water, flooded all the time. You get the leeches will be gigantic when they engorge themselves with your blood. They're really, really huge. But I wanted to try everything. Nothing was off limits, and so I did. And so I tried to experience everything. We had a vegetable garden at the school. We had a small chicken farm, and in that small chicken farm, I'll say I killed my first ever cobra. And I will be honest, that at the time I was there, it was school holiday at that time, so I was there by myself taking care of the chickens while the students were on holiday. And I have to be honest that while I was very successful in killing the cobra, my knees were literally knocking together like this by the time the cobra was dead, and that I killed that cobra so dead that it was practically smashed into a pulp with a piece of bulo, a long piece of bulo. So, but a very scary experience, my first ever. But we had a lot of cobras there. In fact, one of my students, his niece, living just, I think they lived in Songlang, I believe. A little girl went down to go potty in the evening. The bilik air was di bawah, and she went down. She was bitten by a cobra and almost died. Her whole leg, the flesh fell off. It was a very gruesome, horrible thing to see. But alhamdulillah, she got back to health. But with cobras were everywhere. So you have to learn to adapt, and we did.
I understand. You told me the other day that you had a cycling trip to somewhere in Bukit Kodiang, and you had jumped off a waterfall and you saw a cobra. Was it another big?
That
was a second experience, or
that one wasn't Bukit Kodiang. Bukit Kodiang was when we went swimming in the caves, but that one's Batu Pahat, Perlis. And there's a beautiful waterfall there and a park. And I'm told by my students that now it's very highly developed. I'm sure I would not recognize the place. But I wear glasses, and I've worn glasses all my life. But when swimming, of course, I had taken off my glasses, and I was jumping into this waterfall. And when I landed in the pool, I heard the kids say, "Cikgu, cikgu, ada ular, ada ular." So, of course, I wanted to go see the snake. And I didn't know what to expect. I put my glasses on, and I walked below the waterfall, and there in a very calm, quiet pool, not very deep, was the largest reticulated python that I've ever seen in my life in the wild. It was huge, like about this big around, and beautifully colored and totally docile. It wasn't, the kids were poking at it with a stick. It had eaten something, so its tummy was full. You could see a bulge in its tummy, and someone from nearby heard about it, and they actually came and took the snake. But when I saw that snake with my glasses on, I was very, very surprised. Another wonderful, memorable experience. The biggest snake I've ever seen in the wild, not a poison snake, but a squeezing snake.
That's amazing. Lon, we will go into the questions posted by your fans on Facebook.
Oh, great.
And the first question by Satya Bama. Her question is, how were your students before? Did you have a good mix of Indian, Chinese, Malay students, or it was more of a predominantly Malay classroom? And from your experience, do you think there was any unity among students back then?
Good question. We did have a mixture. We had a mixture, especially in that area. It's predominantly rice cultivation, so traditionally that would be Malay. But we also had a lot of Chinese students. That area, the whole area, Alastar, Jitra, a lot of Chinese students. We had some Indian students. A very good friend, Miss Selva Raja, was an Indian teacher. Mr. Nambia, who happened to be Mr. Pradeep's uncle, was actually my co-worker at Sekolah Menengah Hitam. And I had a lovely makan nasi at their home. His beautiful wife made the most delicious, fluffiest nasi I've ever had in my life. And we had Chinese, we had Indians, we had Malays, and the principal was a very interesting guy. I'll never forget the first time I met him. There's two things I remembered about him that just stuck out. First of all, his name, Zakhlul Marikan. So right off the bat, I'm thinking, my goodness, maybe he's my cousin. He shares a part of my name. He's an American, so Zakhlul Marikan. But the other thing, and this is probably was not good for him, I have never seen a heavier smoker in my life. He never, ever had his hands were never without a cigarette. Even if his hand had gone down to the desk, it was still pinching the cigarette. And every few seconds, I don't know when he died, but I think probably those cigarettes might have taken 10 years office. A very kind man, very supportive, very helpful to me. He would do anything for me. I would do anything for him. But those two things I remember. The first day, marikan, that just kind of stuck. It was a fun thing. But then the cigarette smoking, I have never seen such a smoker. So that was something I remember about my headmaster, my guru besar. So we did have a good mix. Yeah.
That's good. And we have another question. This is in reference to your trip to Penang, and where you saw a bunch of durians. And
yes.
So this question is from what's the name? Is that again? Yeah, where exactly did you fall? Oh, sorry, my bad. Question by 5 Helmi. This is in bahasa. Tempat jatuh lagi dikenang. Ini kan pula tempat mengajar. My question is, have you been ever in love with a woman from Kedah?
Oh, now I have to tell the truth, yes? Well, the answer, of course, is yes. It was a secret love. I won't say the student's name, but I will say that she was a model student in every way, absolutely polite, courteous, kind-hearted. And I'll give one little hint. She just lived seberang sungai from the school. She probably knows who she is, but we have to leave it there, right? I behaved like a good man to the best of my ability, and was on my best behavior all the time. But the answer is yes. There were others, of course, but that one, and I also have a soft spot in my heart for a couple of teachers who were about my age. One of them so cute, and I won't mention her name either. And just so much fun and so kind, a joy to be around. And yes, I had some secret girlfriends, not open girlfriends.
Well, you want to tell us about a Malay family who wanted to marry their daughter off to you?
Okay, this came as a surprise to me, and I was very, very honored by it. It took me by surprise, but one evening, a makcik, the mother of one of my students, came to me and said, I've had a talk with my daughter, and her words were "dia sanggup," and she said, I've talked with my husband, pakcik. We all agree that if you would like to get married, our daughter is willing. And it took me by surprise. So to gain a little bit of time, stall a little bit, because I needed to think about it. The last thing I would ever want to do would be to cause someone to feel hurt, or so I said, please give me 24 hours, and we'll talk again tomorrow. And so I already knew the answer, but I just thought a little bit about what I was going to say. So we met at the agreed time, and I said, "Makcik, terima kasih banyak-banyak, and you've honored me. You've showed me that you trust me. That means everything to me. But I have to be honest. I have religious beliefs that are very meaningful to me, and I don't want to be selfish and just pretend to be something that I'm not in order to get something that I want." And I said, you've honored me so much. I just can't thank you enough. And that was an acceptable answer. And that's how the issue was settled.
All right.
It was a tender moment, a good moment.
Yeah, of course. And there's another question from Shireen Shamala. She is asking, what is your favorite Malaysian dish?
Oh my goodness. I think I have so many, but I think my all-time favorite is pulut durian. You get the durian, the pulut, the santan, the gula, plenty of all of those things. Make a gooey mess with your fingers and just eat until you can't eat anymore. I'm crazy over pulut durian. But there's so many things I love. I mean, nasi biryani, nasi lemak, nasi ayam, That's rendang daging. You can name a million of them. Don't forget roti canai telur dengan kuah dalca and roti martabak. If I could, I would have those for breakfast every single morning of my life. Unfortunately, the roti canai near here is no good. We don't have any.
Another question by Andrew Tai. He's asking if you have managed to teach any of your immediate family Bahasa Malaysia.
I have tried. I have fun. Sometimes I'll get a call from one of my friends in Malaysia, and I'll be speaking Bahasa Malaysia, and my grandson is with me. And here's what he says: Grandpa, stop speaking that crazy language. Grandpa, it's very difficult to motivate him. But I have tried. I have more success with the songs. Burung Kakak Tua. One song that my sister particularly loved and cracked her up was "Oh Mama, saya mau kawin. Oh Ma, saya mau kawin. Oh Mama, saya mau kawin dengan anak Mak Mina yang jual-jual kain. Dengan anak Mak Mina yang jual kain." Now that I can get them to, they try to say those things. Songs they will learn. The Bahasa, not so much.
Wow, you're really good at singing Malay songs. That's fun.
I love them. They're fun.
There's one question from Shahila Hashim. She's asking, Pak Lon, bila nak main Kedah lagi?
Secepat mungkin. Secepat mungkin. Ya, secepat mungkin. InsyaAllah, ujung tahun ini. InsyaAllah.
Another question. Nini Suhaimi Fayek. Are you still in Malaysia or moved back to the US already?
I live in my own little kampung in Ridgefield, Washington. It's Barat Daya, the Pacific Northwest. A beautiful area. Washington is called the Evergreen State, because much of the whole western part of the state is covered with a very beautiful, tall tree, which is called Douglas fir tree. It's the tree which many, many houses around the world are made of, because it has such good lumber. But they never turn color or lose their leaves. They're evergreen trees. So Washington is the evergreen state. And we also have a very lot of rain, and that keeps things green.
We have another question from Nurha Matrang. She's asking, would you mind sharing your photos from your days in Kedah?
They are on my Facebook page recently, and I think you, Pradeep, put them on the embassy Facebook page. So I have shared them. I don't have any handy with me at this moment, but I'm looking for a couple of boxes of old photos. You can imagine that I have way too many photos in boxes scattered in different parts of the house, and I would love to sort through. And of course, it's one of those projects that you're always going to do and never get to it. But as I find more pictures of my Sekolah Menengah Hitam days, then I'll put some more. I love to put more on Facebook. I would enjoy doing that.
And we have a song request from Arif Chalvam, who's asking you if you know how to sing Rasa Sayang.
Rasa sayang, rasa sayang, sayang, rasa sayang, rasa sayang, sayang. Okay, it's not very good, but yeah, I love to sing Rasa Sayang. Any child song, I love them.
I also learned from my uncle, who happened to be your colleague, that you still wear the sarong like a Malay person all the time when you were in Kedah, you know. So do
Yes.
why is that? Why not your regular pair of shorts?
Well, because it was more comfortable. You know, I came from a very cool, moderate climate, and as everyone in Kedah knows, it was surrounded by the sawah, a very hangat, as we say in Kedah, very hot. Nighttime, you know, if you put one leg on the other leg, it's sticky. The skin against skin is sticky. You put your arm on your other arm, it's sticky. So I learned the sarung is very comfortable, very loose fitting. So I learned about sarung and bantal dakap. The bantal dakap, or as we say in Indonesia, istri Belanda. It's called istri Belanda, the bantal dakap. But you can put your leg over the bantal, and of course it prevents that stickiness of skin on skin.
I also understand that you are advisor to many clubs in school, and you not only taught agricultural science. You were assigned to teach agricultural science, but you have been asked to teach other subjects. What are those subjects, and what do you enjoy teaching most?
Yes, it was at that time a small school. Now, of course, it's a very large school, but at that time small. So there was a lot of need, and being a flexible person, if Mr. Zakrul Marikan asked me to teach something, I would say yes. So I taught, of course, some Bahasa Inggris. I taught ilmu perdagangan or commercial studies. I taught ilmu alam or geography. Just whatever I was asked to do. And then, as you say, we had an agriculture science society, which that was the group that was involved in the school's little vegetable garden and the chicken farm. And there was a plan at one time to make a kolam ikan, but we never got that far. And then toward the end of my time there, I think it might have been your uncle. It might have been Mr. Nambia who introduced a photography club. And it was very simple. Of course, we didn't have much equipment, but the kids all loved taking photos and, learning to develop photos the old-fashioned way with those chemicals. So we had a little club like that. And I got involved in just anything that I could think of that would give me an opportunity to spend time with the students outside of class.
Okay, let's move out of Kedah for a while and go to Besut in Terengganu, where you spent 3 years, I believe.
More than 2 years.
More than 2 years as an assistant language officer, was it?
Yes.
Yes. So share us some experience from Terengganu. How do you like it there? Was it different compared to Kedah, and was it almost similar?
It was both the same and different. Again, I went to Sekolah Menengah Sebang Takir first, and was I kind of part of a practical experience. I was there for a few weeks, fell in love with the students. They fell in love with me. In fact, I have a collection of letters from that group of students that are some of the most beautiful letters I've ever received in my life. And we'd only been together like 3 or 4 weeks, and they knew that I had to go to another place. I treasure those letters. But as the assistant language officer posted up to Besut, I actually lived in Kampung Raja. My job was to go to the various schools in that area and give little demonstrations and help with curriculum development. One fun thing I did, what I love to do, and again, it was how to make the language interesting. I would do a demonstration class. So I would agree in advance with 1 or 2 of the boy students that we're going to stage a robbery in English class. It's going to be a robbery. So I'm going to come into the class. I'm going to open my briefcase. Inside of my briefcase, I'm going to have some items. They're going to put a mask on their face, and I'll give them a little signal. They're going to run into the class, grab my briefcase, and run away. Now, where does that become an English lesson? It's a beautiful English lesson, because now I say to the students, now you have to tell me in English, how many robbers were there? What was the color of their clothing? What did they take? Which direction did they go? Are you able to tell the police what they looked like? So that was one fun thing we did as a kind of how to learn English and have fun. Another thing I did love to do as a kind of demonstration English lesson, the students would come into the class and be surprised to find it set up like a kadai, a restaurant, with all tables set, and with little menus on them, everything in English, of course, every menu is in English. And then I would appoint 1 or 2 students would be the waiters. The rest would be customers. The waiter would come to your table. How may I help you? Would you like to have something to eat? We turned it into beautiful English, ordering, eating, chatting, paying the bill, all having fun learning Bahasa Inggris. So those were the kinds of things that I got to do, and I had a lot of fun with it. And the kids had an awesome time, and we learned a lot of English, the fun way.
Of course. And we have a question from Arif Chelvan. Basically, he's asking there are challenges when teaching students from rural areas, especially children back then. So he's asking, what do you do to make them feel more enthusiastic towards your lessons? And perhaps you could describe how were classrooms back then. And you also mentioned that that you have brought your classes outside the classroom. Why did you do so? Perhaps you want to give how was it like teaching back then?
Ah, yes. Well, first of all, let me say that it helps to be Matsale. Because I'm different, I just being, you're already kind of a novelty in a rural part of Malaysia. So that in itself is kind of a very healthy motivating factor. And the other thing, I've referred to it several times, is to make the learning fun. If you can make it fun, I know traditionally we do things in ways that we've become accustomed to, and I realize that there's standardized tests and we have to test to a certain standard. But the way I've discovered that the way to make learning really stick, including with rural kids, is to put some heart into it and have some fun. And as soon as they discover, you almost don't realize you're learning because you're having fun, but at the same time you might be developing vocabulary or a certain skill, whatever that skill might be. And a wonderful thing, I got a letter recently on Facebook from a student in Bahasa Malaysia, and he said something like, "Cikgu, saya minta maaf. Pada waktu cikgu mengajar kami di sana itu saya malas. Saya tak sungguh-sungguh, tak rajin sama sekali. Saya minta maaf, cikgu. Sampai saya berhenti sekolah. Tak dapat sijil apapun, saya berhenti sekolah. Tapi cikgu, terima kasih banyak. Sebab sabar. Terus sabar." Kemudian dia berkata, dengan sendiri, 2 tahun lepas itu, saya mengambil sijilnya. Saya belajar sendiri, belajar di rumah sampai dapat sijil. Terima kasih banyak, cikgu. So it was a very heartwarming story. I was a poor student. I didn't take it seriously, but thank you for not giving up on us. And then he decided, I really need to go and get this certificate, and he did on his own. So terima kasih. I'm proud of him.
So you changed someone's life like that. That's good.
They changed my life.
So yeah, there is a growing call on your Facebook on our chat now. They are asking you to reveal who this love subject might be.
That one I'm not going to be able to do. I'm so sorry, but I'm afraid it would be embarrassing. I will say this. Just to make it part of the fun and part of the truth, I still do communicate with that person on Facebook and consider her a beloved family member in my family of students.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So perhaps you want to. I hear that you are good at pantones and what have you. Do you have a pantone for us today?
Well, I didn't have a pantun, but I did have something that I wanted to say to my students. And I kind of wrote it out so that I could, say it without getting stuck, because I don't speak as much Bahasa Malaysia now as I used to. But I have a little message that I want to give to my students. So I'm going to read it if I may. And it's this. Ada orang pernah bertanya saya, bagaimana cikgu menjadi begitu akrab dengan bekas anak muridnya? Susah nak cari kata-kata yang layak menjelaskan. Yang pertama, anak murid menjadi guru pada gurunya. Dan mereka memang guru yang terbaik. Segala apa yang saya dapat pelajari bersama mereka telah merubah bentuk kehidupan saya sampai selama-lama. Sampai sekarang pun. Saya berada di Facebook Live pada hari ini juga satu-satunya sebab mereka, kebaikan hati mereka. Sebab mereka. Jadi terima kasih. Pendek kata, daripada kawan, mereka menjadi sahabat karib. Akhirnya kami semua menjadi adik-beradik dalam satu keluarga yang saling bersayang. keluarga itu bersifat rujak. Banyak macam isinya, banyak macam warnanya, banyak macam bumbunya, tapi satu macam rasa saja. Rasa kasih sayang yang berlimpah-limpah. Syukur dan alhamdulillah keluarga itu syok sekali. Terima kasih.
Sangat baik, cikgu. Terima kasih, cikgu.
Ya, terima kasih kembali.
Cikgu ada apa-apa yang nak dikatakan dalam bahasa Melayu? Boleh silakan kalau nak bertutur dalam bahasa Melayu.
Hanya terima kasih banyak kepada semua yang mengikut pada hari ini, yang menyampaikan pertanyaan, yang memberi kata-kata atau komen, yang ingin tahu siapa dia, buah hati saya yang saya tak mau katakan namanya. Terima kasih semua. Juga kalau saya kira dia ada sekarang, Hemalini di Alstar Kedah, dia anak menakan saya, anak peranakan saya. Anak-anak dia memang cucu saya, jadi pada mereka salam rindu, salam manis, I love you.
Saya nak bawa cikgu balik kepada posting yang sebelum ni yang menjadikan cikgu popular, viral sampai tahap influencer sekarang. Yang cikgu nyanyikan lagu Negaraku. Boleh cerita sikit saja mungkin kenapa cikgu nyanyi Negaraku hari itu? Hari tersebutlah yang cikgu post. Kenapa?
Betul. Padahal memang ini waktu kuarantin ya, waktu duduk di rumah dan ada waktu lapang lebih daripada biasa. Jadi dalam waktu termenung itu ingat kembali kenang-kenangan manis dari Malaysia dan juga dalam kata-kata anak muridnya itu memang ada sedikit perasaan susah hati sedikit. Ini masalah ini pandemik coronavirus, kena duduk di rumah, macam-macam tak boleh buat. Jadi saya rasa itu, wah, apa yang saya boleh buat untuk memberi semangat sedikit, mendorong mereka, bagaimana saya dapat mengangkat sedikit semangatnya. Jadi pada waktu saya berjalan kaki, bersenam, exercise, timbul dalam fikiran saya, bagaimana kalau saya buat video itu, video singkat, saya nyanyikan pada mereka lagu Negaraku. Sebab dari semulanya saya cukup sayang pada lagu itu. Jadi saya pulang ke rumah pada hari itu, kemudian hilang fikiran itu. Tak jadi apa-apa pun. Besok hari, saya pergi lagi tempat bersenam itu, tempat exercise, timbul lagi pikiran itu. Kali ini saya kembali ke rumah, saya letak teleponnya, iPhone-nya, smartphone-nya di depannya, saya mula sedikit tu buat tak baik, tak jadi. Tapi tidak apa-apa, saya kata, cuba sekali lagi. Saya letak kamera di situ atau telefon di situ, buat terus, tak buat apa-apa pun, habis, boleh tahan. Jadi saya kirim, upload, the rest is history. Daripada itu sejarah semua ya.
Saya sangat bangga Cikgu Lon dapat nyanyi lagu Negaraku dan
Terima kasih.
bertutur dengan bahasa Melayu dengan sangat baik. Saya rasa orang lokal pun tak dapat bertanding dengan cikgu lah.
Terima kasih.
Mungkin cikgu dah ada experience mengajar di sekolah-sekolah di Malaysia. Kami sangat gembira dan kami berharap Cikgu Lon boleh datang ke Malaysia, datang kembali ke Air Hitam, datang kembali ke Besut Terengganu untuk jumpa kawan-kawan lama dan kaum keluarga cikgu yang cikgu sebut tadi. Untuk
InsyaAllah.
We will welcome you with open arms, Lon. And looking forward, once this pandemic is over, we would love to have you here.
And I would love to be there. I would love to be there.
Yes. And that's all the time we have for today. And
thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
On behalf of the US Embassy in Kuala Lumpur, I'd like to thank you for your time, sir, and wish you well. And keep up your posts in Bahasa on Facebook. I enjoy reading them. I'm sure many others do. And be looking forward to having you here in our country. And
terima kasih banyak.
Terima kasih,
Thank you.
Cikgu.
Thank you,
Apa
and,
lagi?
and good day. For me, it's good night. For you, it's good day. Have a great day. Bye.
Yeah, Lon.
Bye. Bye, Pradeep. Bye, Sarah. Night.